guys, and welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to take a moment to thank all the new subscribers who joined recently. So I don't know if maybe my video was shared somewhere, or I don't know if Pinterest maybe did its thing. I hope you like talking about money and mental health and traveling, because that's what you're going to be getting from this channel. So welcome to the channel, and to all my returning subscribers, welcome back. And today we are going to talk about how growing up poor has shaped my psyche and how it shapes other people's psyche as well. You know, how we handle money, what we think of it, how we make it, all of that is going to go into this video today. So if that's what you want to hear, be sure to stay tuned. How bad money habits shaped my behaviors. Growing up, I wasn't taught the best money habits. And this is nothing against my parents. It's just, I feel like with a lot of families of color, people of color in general, you know, unfortunately it's common to not know much about the logistics of money. We know how to make money and we know how to pay our bills, but all of the stuff in between sometimes can get lost in translation. And then people like me who come from a background where money isn't really talked about or discussed or even understood, we end up having to teach ourselves. Thank God for the internet. We become the first generation in our families of people who truly understand money and are able to use it as a tool in order to create generational wealth. That's where I find myself in this situation. And throughout all of that and growing up and, you know, not having the best example on how to use money, all of that has shaped me in 5 different ways. With number 1 being, I'm a little secretive. This is kind of a normal behavior when it comes to money. A lot of people don't like to speak about money. It's unfortunately seen as a taboo subject, which I want to break that cycle. I don't think money should be a taboo subject. I think we should be comfortable with speaking about it, speaking about how much we are trying to make, speaking about how to use it as a tool to fuel passive income in order to be able to work less and live our lives more. I feel like I'm still very secretive. If people ask me anything, any details about money at all, I find myself kind of clamming up and just thinking very carefully on how I should answer that question. I've definitely grown accustomed to not being very detailed about my finances, especially when asked questions about them from my family in general. I used to be afraid that if I did speak freely about my finances, then it would put me in danger. It would put my money at risk. It would make it so that I had the potential to lose everything that I've worked for. And I know that that is an irrational thought, because the power of no is just so powerful. And we talked about the power of no in my previous video on setting boundaries and being assertive. Without those boundaries, then it would make sense to feel this way about money and to be secretive. But if you have those boundaries set in place, then people will know what lines they can and cannot cross. The second behavior that I developed from having bad money habits growing up is squirreling away money. I remember when I saved my first $10,000, I had never felt more safe in my life. Just having the money sitting in the bank to me was winning. I felt like I was on top of the world. I, for the first time in my life, saw 5 figures in my bank account, and I felt like there was nothing that could stop me. While I know to some, $10,000 is really not that much money, to me, I still to this day think that that's a lot of money. And every time I gain another subsequent $10,000, to me it's a milestone, because it's just that much closer for me getting rid of my debt and raising my net worth. When I was younger, I still exhibited this behavior. I would hide money just because we lived in a family where sometimes everyone had to chip in order to survive, and I just found it so unfair that I could never just have money of my own. So I found myself squirreling it away. I would hide it in pillowcases. I would hide it in my hair accessory containers. I would hide it under my bed. I would hide it on my person just so that I could have money, because I was so used to not having it and I wanted to be able to keep it for myself. Now I don't feel the need to squirrel away money, and that's partly because I no longer live at home with my whole family, but also because I realize that just putting money in the bank won't necessarily help your money work for you, which is the thing that you should be working towards. the little 1% interest that you get from a savings account is nothing compared to at least the 2% that you can get from Ally Bank, or the up to 7% on average that you can get from just following the S&P 500 index. So squirreling away money, honestly, is a good first step if you're just trying to save for an emergency fund. But if you want to build wealth, squirreling away money is actually pretty damaging, and that's why I had to work. It took me years to get out of that mindset and to open my mind to the thought of interest working for me. So the third behavior that I learned from bad money habits is being fearful. I was always afraid, even to this day. People that know me call me Mr. Krabs because they think that I'm a money hungry person. And while I do really enjoy money and talking about it and having it and smelling it and tasting it, it just comes more from a place of fear. I know deep down that if you're practical with your money and you're responsible, there's nothing to be afraid of. However, there's still a piece of me that feels like, you know, if I make a purchase that's $1,000 or more, it hurts when I have to pay for an airline ticket. I don't like seeing chunks of money leaving my bank account. I only want to ever see it go towards the positive. So when it goes down a little bit for any purchase, it hurts my heart. And that's irrational because having money and not spending it kind of defeats the purpose. What I've done to try to fight this is just to understand you're building money in order to make a goal. When I get to the end of my goal of saving for a specific thing, like vacation or a gift for Christmas or a new computer, it feels great that I reached that goal. But then as soon as I have to spend it all, and then I have this object, to me, it's still, if I'm not putting the money towards working for me in the stock market where it's growing, then I feel like I'm throwing it away. So what I'm still working on is the fact that there are certain liabilities that need to be purchased, and that's gonna be an ongoing issue, I feel like, for a long time in my life. The fourth behavior that I learned from not having the best money habits growing up is to be extremely frugal. Not frugal as in this show on the Learning Channel where the woman was using bath water to cook spaghetti. It's never been that bad, but I do find ways to cut corners in terms of paying, and it can be a little drastic. Recently I got a new bike. It was the Citizen bike. It was a foldy bike, and I got that bike in order to reduce my spending. Now, before, when I had the car, it wasn't necessarily my expense. I would help pay towards gas every once in a while, which was $50 per every 2 weeks. But then when the car started to break down, it became $50 every week, and it was just becoming so heavy on us that we decided, well, my boyfriend decided to get rid of our car. And this is a great idea. My plan was to not ride in the car anymore and to pay $108 or $105 a month for public transportation. And it would give me a pass, a monthly pass, to where I would have unlimited rides for 30 to 31 days, depending on the month. And I would just have to pay $105 recurring in order to keep that pass active. After doing the math on that, I was not thrilled. I wasn't thrilled on having to pay $1,000+ a year. That is literally more than how much I'm putting towards my M1 finance. I can put all of that money towards my investments and now have double. And the fifth and final behavior that I've noticed since growing up with bad money habits is that I see money in everything. So to me, time is money. I don't like to waste my time. I don't like to just idly sit on the internet when I know that the internet can create revenue. I feel like this is one of the good behaviors that I've learned from not having the best money habits, because I know if I get my money to work for me, then I'll have more time to be idle. Not that I'll necessarily use that time to be idle, but it just creates a sense of comfort and security, that security that I feel like I was lacking when I was growing up. So those are the 5 behaviors that I feel like I've learned since growing up with bad money habits. And honestly, I think you can either go two ways if you grow up poor. You can go the way of continuing on with those behaviors, living in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, buying liabilities and worshiping liabilities over experiences, or you can turn out another way, which breaks the cycle. I feel like right now I'm laying the groundwork for future generations of our family so that they can live life and be on more equal footing to everyone else. That's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and be sure to check out MissBonitaLynn.com if you want to see more articles on subjects such as this: mental health, personal finance, freedom, travel, anything like that. Check out my website. The link will be in the description below, and also leave comments on what you guys think of this topic, if you guys grew up with bad money habits and how you deal with that to this day. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.